All right. Welcome, welcome. Actually, I've got to fix the date. It's March 11th. Let me just fix that, Simon. How's it going? Welcome, everyone, joining our weekly Q&A. Just a heads up, we won't have one next week. So we'll be back again in 2 weeks' time. So March 11th, Dr. Dutton has submitted some questions. Thank you. We only have a few questions submitted so far, so do think up some questions, Dr. Chang, Ku, Dr. Urena, and submit them either in the comments section or in the Q&A. Over to you, Simon.
Okay, so just the one question so far.
Okay.
When we have finished expanding the
Can you say
upper,
something? Can you hear us, Simon?
hello, hello?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah. When we have finished expanding the upper and we are waiting for the lower arch to catch up, and we see the midline is off with the appliances out. So there is a functional shift and a hit and a slide in one direction. How do we manage this? Are you looking to see which part of the teeth is hitting and imagining which direction to move teeth? How should we manage these cases? So a lot of it depends on if the functional shift is only with the plates out and if it's okay with the plates in. So when we're expanding our upper and lower arches, we're expanding at different rates. The upper is approximately 0.8 millimeters every 8 days, and the lower is 0.35 mils every 8 days, sometimes a little bit less. So you're literally 2 to 3 times faster on the top than the bottom. So what that will mean if you start at the same time is that you will end up initially with a scissors bite, a Brody bite, all right, where the upper is larger than the lower. So we know that this is going to happen. So we make allowances by building a bite ramp, which is about 3 to 4 millimeters beyond the palatal cusps towards the midline in the upper. That bite ramp allows the child to continue to chew and function with fairly even contacts because even though there will be initially a Brody bite, the bite ramps provide the substitute biting position for the lower teeth that are still being developed and not as fast as the upper. So if the bite relationship is reasonable with the plate in place, then that's all well and good. If we take the plate out, you'll end up with scissors bite, Brody bite. And the only way the patient can contact is by moving either to one side or the other. So that functional shift is transient and is correct when we don't have the upper plate in. So you don't actually have to manage it. You just have to be patient while you wait for the lower to develop to the same width as the upper, and then your bite remains fairly centered. Where you do have to manage the situation is when you have a functional shift with the plates in place. So with the plates in place, with the upper expanding faster than the lower, when we bite together and we get a functional shift, one side or the other, that's usually related to the bite ramp being a little bit asymmetric or on an angle. And you'll need to use articulation paper to mark the areas where there's a premature contact or a slide, and then you'll have to adjust the plate itself, the acrylic, to allow you to correct out the interference and functional shift. The other reason why that might happen is if there's a problem with the retention or the expansion rate, and or you're not managing the rests on the sixes, and you have teeth that are tipping with plunger clasps and creating a functional shift because of a premature contact. If it's the sixes, then it's a matter of intruding the rests to torque the palatal cusp back down. If it is a primary molar that's causing the problem, then again, you will need to check with the articulation paper, and you can adjust the high cusp down. It's a primary molar. We don't do any adjustments of permanent teeth. Okay. That's basically the answers to that series of questions.
Yeah, I'm just copying Dr. Cheng's question across. Just give me a second. There you go.
Okay. Next question. Some children who often frown, purse lips, or suck lips due to straw bottles, how much of these affect the arch form? How do you address this problem in appliances and exercises? Obviously, functional habits, unless they're extremely, or even if they're extremely forceful, won't really affect the occlusion or the growth. But adverse functions that result in or are caused by adverse postures will. So we have to be very mindful of the change in correct posture. That may or may not be the outcome of poor functional habits, adverse functional habits. So obviously, we know that certain actions are not particularly helpful. And generally, we can see them visually as being attractive traits or unattractive traits. Like very often we'll see these distortions. So one of the things that we aim to work towards in the exercises that we use is to correct these adverse patterns. So we use our GoPex and our GoPex exercises. And one of the foundational GoPex exercises is to swallow with the teeth together and not making a face. All right, so the GoPex exercise in the chewing GoPex exercise is for each mouthful of food or drink that we take, if it's food, we'll chew 20 times hard and fast with the lips together, and then we'll bite our teeth together, rest our lips together, pause, and then swallow without making a face. So the secret sauce, if you like, is to swallow with the teeth together. Most of the actions of the lip and facial activity is from swallowing with the teeth apart. So if we swallow with our teeth apart, we Don't make it easy to swallow with tongue pressing up onto the palate. And when that doesn't happen, the only way to swallow is what we call suck swallow, where we purse or suck the lips back. Drive the tongue forward, suck the lip back. So we want to alter that. Those patterns can create very poor resting postures, so the malocclusion will develop naturally. So often you can't correct the swallow until you have a reasonable occlusion. If the pattern has gone on for a long time or it's very adverse and the posture is very poor, then the skeletal imbalance becomes sometimes so great that you can't physically correct the functional habits because structurally it's no longer possible. But assuming that we're still within an acceptable, manageable range for postural orthodontics, then once we've corrected the general malocclusion, then we continue to retrain the child by, again, encouraging them to swallow their teeth together and not make a face during the GoFX exercises. And during the GoFX exercises, our goal is initially to swallow with the teeth together and the lips apart. So that's the sip, smile, swallow. And then eventually sip, teeth together, lips together, swallow again without making a face. So that our goal is to work towards quiet tongue to the palate only action swallow. If it's confirmed to be driven by something like a straw, then the simple solution, first step is to stop drinking out of straws. So move to using cups or drinking straight out of the mouth of the bottle. So if you find it's the straw that creates all the problems, then we stop at the straw. I mean, the reality is you don't actually need a straw your life, do you? You can drink without straw. There are solutions. Pour your beverage into a cup. Use a soup spoon. Yeah, so try to focus on eliminating the activity that is driving the problem and then retrain with the GoPax and GoFX. If you struggle, then of late I've been using froggy mouth, which is effectively forcing the child to do the GoFX exercise of sip, teeth together, smile, and swallow. Okay, next question is for a 7 to 8-year-old with upper and lower crowding, but intermolar width of 38. Do we need to expand posterior or anterior? Intermolar width of 38 is quite rare in children with malocclusion. Most commonly, a true intermolar width of 38 mils, you get very little in the way of crowding. That said, some Oriental patients, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and such have very large incisors, like really, really big incisors. And you need a little bit more. So if you need more, you need more. All right, we've got to have enough width to fit the front teeth in nicely. So if there is crowding and you do have a curve of Wilson, which is evident in the lower arch, then you can expand the upper arch and through sutural expansion still, and then you can expand the lower arch by uprighting the tipped compensated molars, and then you'll get some more space. So typically in some Oriental children with really big incisors, you might have to go as high as 41 mil to get the teeth in. In some cases where the posture has been less than ideal and the growth pattern a little bit more vertical than we like, then you do run into a situation where you can't expand your way out of an AP and vertical problem, and you're much more limited to your outcomes being, if it's non-extraction, you're going to end up with quite protrusive incisors. So that, again, unfortunately, is one of the typical expressions of malocclusion in Oriental children with big front teeth and less than ideal growth posture. They end up with the only solution to non-extraction being protrusive incisors, and you get that kind of incisor flaring forward in a high maxillary protrusive type presentation and no chin. So big full lips and a chin that's unfortunately retrusive, and that's the nature of a vertical growth pattern.
Another question from Dr. Koo. Second.
Yeah. Would a child with weak masseter or hypertonic facial muscles, would we anticipate a longer time to train good habits? Yeah, unfortunately, weak muscle tone is one of the drivers of poor posture. And, poor posture increases often vertical growth patterns. And the biomechanics of a divergent growth pattern is that you just can't load the elevator muscles as well. And then you don't get the development in the masseter temporalis muscles. So how do we overcome this? We treat it like any other weak muscle scenario, is we have to work it, to work the muscles. If you want muscles that are stronger, want action that is stronger, then you have to load the muscle and through repetitive loading. So you just got to chew harder and faster, and you got to chew more often. In some of those cases, you also have to introduce chewing gum or chewies. It's one of the things that occasionally you have to do in very weak muscled children. You'll also need to consider if the lack of chewing is because of an airway obstruction, deal with that as well. So if the airway is compromised, then they're not going to chew their food, because between breathing and eating, breathing always wins. Can't chew with your mouth closed if you can't breathe through your nose. So very often that's one of the flagged health concerns with hypertonic facial muscles. But if you resolve that issue, then yeah, load the muscle, work the muscle, like a gym. Go to the gym to work the muscle. You're gonna go to the oral gym to work the masseters. You can do it with the chewies, the silicon chewies. You can do it with harder foods. You can do it just by chewing more. 20 chews hard and fast, which is GoPex. So GoPex is designed to help build some muscle tone. Once you have corrected, you can use the silicon chewies from the beginning. You can use chewing gum at the end as a finishing process once you've unraveled the crowding and got the bite to be a better fit.
Okay. Any other questions? If you'd like to raise your hand and join the panel and have a chat with Simon, you can do that as well. There's I think, a raise hand function somewhere. Otherwise, type your question in the general chat or in the Q&A box. Here for another 20 minutes, unless there's no questions, and we'll wrap up early. Let's see if there's any other questions coming in. Just type yes if you have a question. We won't hang up if you need a minute to formulate your question, or just type yes in the comments if you want to submit a question. Otherwise, no other questions. Going once. Go. Oh, I see. No. Going twice. All right. No one's typing yes or anything. So, Simon, you've got hopefully a more decent lunch break today.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
See you
everyone.
in a couple weeks.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.